Hello everyone. If you know me pretty well, or you watch my previous videos, you probably have figured out that my favorite text editor is Visual Studio Code. I like Visual Studio Code not only because of the design and the speed, but also because you can make it very powerful very easily with extensions. The first extension I want to show you is Auto Rename Tag. Auto Rename Tag, like it sounds, will automatically rename tabs as you type them. So if I'm in a text editor, I can change this tag and it will automatically change both of them. So if I said like section, it would say it here and here. I'm going to leave this as body, and you'll see that with any tags anywhere in the program, if I change one, it will change the other. And this is very useful for programming very quickly, because usually when you change one tag, you're also going to change the other, so that makes it one of the most useful extensions for web developers. The second extension we're going to look at is Live Server. Live Server enables you to start a server with your HTML code and preview in the browser. One thing that's really cool about Live Server is that when you save your code, it will automatically refresh the page so that you can continuously check your changes while you're editing. So I'm going to go ahead here and type hello world. Now we'll start this on Live Server by clicking the Go Live button. It'll open up in the browser this page on localhost 5500. And in the settings of Visual Studio Code, you can change which port it will open and similar settings. Now the cool thing is, I'll put this side by side. So you can see if I change this to an H1, hit Control S for save, it will automatically refresh the changes without me having to go into the browser to refresh the page. I can add another line. I'll say this is a test, save, and my changes will appear in my browser. The next extension I want to show you is called Path IntelliSense. This extension will give you suggestions for files that are in your path anywhere that you're typing a path. So for example, in my index.html, I can add a style sheet by saying link route equals style sheet href equals style.css. So style.css will be suggested because it is in my file path. If I had another folder, let's say CSS, inside the CSS folder, I have a folder called main, and inside of main, I have main.css. Now, if I go to index, I can make another link, and the href will be, I can say CSS / it's suggesting main because main is in my folder structure, and then main.css. So I don't have to go into my folder structure to figure out where all my files are, because it will start suggesting them as I type. The next extension I want to show you guys is called Prettier. Prettier is a code formatter. That means that if you have a file open that has messy formatting, you can press the shortcut and it will automatically format your file to standard coding practices. So you have these shortcuts, Control-Shift-P for Windows, and you can change these shortcuts by going to the keyboard shortcut settings in Visual Studio Code. So let me show you how this works. If I have like a indented thing like this, if I press my shortcut for formatting, it will automatically fix all the indentation and other code styling to make it look nicer. This works in HTML, JavaScript, PHP, almost any language that you would be working with, they have a formatter for. Make sure you install a right plugin if you're working with other languages that are not in the basic extension. The next extension I want to show you guys is called React Icons. Now this does not have to do with React in JavaScript. This can be used even if you're not using React. This extension allows you to search for icons directly in Visual Studio Code and copy the SVG for it. So if I'm in my index.html, I can go to the shortcut for React icons. You can search for an icon, let's say sun. And it'll recommend a bunch of sun icons. Let's say I pick this one. I can press copy SVG and then paste it into my code. And now if I look into my browser, I'll see that I have a sun icon here. I'll press my shortcut for formatting so that I can see the different parts of this SVG. And you can see here I have the height and width, so I can change this to 5 EM if I want the sun to be larger. So now if I look at this page, I'll have a larger sun. The next extension I want to show you guys is called Tab 9. Tab 9 uses machine learning to help you code faster. It allows you to autocomplete entire lines of code based on what it predicts you're going to type. So for example, in this HTML file, you might have noticed that if I start with a less than sign in this head, it suggests that I might be interested in typing link rel equals style sheet href equals and then a path for a CSS style sheet. Since I have a CSS folder, it even recommends that I can press CSS/, and now I just need to continue from this point. So I saved about 20 key presses by having this tab 9 extension. You can do this in JavaScript, PHP. Your code doesn't even have to compile for it to work because it's just using machine learning based on the context, and it's not based on your actual code. If I create a new JavaScript file, if I say f, it suggests for, false, finally, function. If I start typing function, it suggests it. And a lot of the time it knows exactly what you're going to type for an entire line of code, especially if you have parts of code that are very similar. So this is a very good time saver. The next extension I want to show you guys is called Bracket Pair Colorizer 2. It allows you to change the colors of your brackets so you can easily see what matches up with which bracket. So in this example, these are yellow brackets, but if I make a for loop inside of here, you'll see that the for loops brackets are a different color. And if inside of here I put an if statement, you'll see that this third nesting is another color. So you have 3 different colors, yellow, pink, and blue, so I can easily see which one matches up with which bracket. And if I click on a bracket, you'll see that it draws lines of the outer scope so I can see how my code is structured much more easily. Now I'm trying not to make these too language specific, but you can find code snippets for many different languages. Here's an extension that gives you code snippets for JavaScript. This allows you to have easy shortcuts such as these ones and these ones. You have FRE to make a for each, and a lot more. So you just remember these shortcuts and you'll be able to save a lot of time. So I can show you, for example, I can type CLG, tab, and it'll have console.log object. I can start typing right here to fill in what object I want to log. If I type FRE, press tab, I get array.forEach current item, and first I can type in the array, which I could actually put 1, 2, 3, and then press tab, and it suggests what I want to call the parameter, which I'll call x, and then I can just start typing over here and use each of these. And this saves a lot of time because I do not have to type out the entire for each. I can just type in 3 letters and I'll get the entire code snippet. Next, I want to show you this extension called Better Comments. This allows you to change the styling of your comments to make it easier to see what things need to be done and help things stand out. So for example, this to do is highlighted in orange. If I write the word to do in a comment, the entire comment turns orange, and I can say something like replace with a variable, for example, and it will highlight in orange. If I can put a warning here, I can say remove this line in production, and it will highlight it in red since I put an exclamation point. I can also put a question mark to highlight it in blue, and it does much more to help you have nicer looking comments. One extension that works really well with this one is to do highlight. To do highlight, it does highlight to-dos just like Better Comments does, but another cool feature is that it actually will find to-dos in your project. So if I had like 2 to-dos here, I can press the shortcut for to-do list highlight annotations, and I can say to-do. Let me try without these spaces. Now I get a list of all of the to-dos that are in my project. I can click on any of these with Control click, and it'll take me to exactly the line where the to-do occurs. Even if I'm in another file in this workspace, I can still run this and it'll find it for anything in my workspace, and clicking it will go directed to the right file and the right line, which is very useful. Now you notice that the to-do highlight extension highlights to-dos with an orange background, and you're able to remove that by going to the settings. You should always know about user settings. You can go to open user settings by running that command, and you can search for to-do highlight or whatever extension you're looking for and see what settings they have available. So you can uncheck is enable if you want to just use better comments for your highlighting and not to-do highlights highlighting because it doesn't need it. Another good thing to know about is you have settings in JSON format, so you can add in here different rules. So you can customize the appearance of the editor, change the color of comments, change the color of what happens when you select. So I've customized all these colors in my Visual Studio Code. You can choose default formatters for prettier, and you can exclude files and to do highlight. You can always look at the documentation for any of these extensions and find out what settings you can apply to make it work better for you. One more thing I want to show is Emmet, which comes built into Visual Studio Code these days. But you'll notice when I start this video, I press the exclamation point and press enter. This is an Emmet shortcut. So you'll notice when I press this, it says Emmet abbreviation, and here it will show me a preview of what it will do when I select this abbreviation. One exclamation point will do this entire boilerplate with meta tags, HTML tag, head, and body, and you can press tab to go through these different sections, and for example, hello world as the title. It's very easy to do. Emmet also allows you to create complex structures of HTML very easily. So let's say I want to have a div with the class hi, and inside of that I want a list with a class name list, inside of that 9 list items, each containing the text item. I can type this out and you can see over here this is what it looks like. If I press a $sign, I'll put the item number along with every item, and then if I just have to press enter, and it'll add this to my document. So this makes creating HTML very easy. You also have Emmet shortcuts for CSS. So if I say .hi, and I want to say W10 to get width 10 pixels. If I want to say text align center, I can type TAC and then press tab and get text align center. You can say display flex, DF, and there's just so many shortcuts that make writing CSS much faster. If you're interested in learning how to make Emmet, let me know in the comments, and I will make sure to make a video showing you all of the different tools that Emmet is capable of. One more thing before I end this video is that Visual Studio Code allows you to customize the appearance with themes from their marketplace. So if I search for theme, I'll find many different themes. You can see material theme here. This is the one that I'm using, specifically community material theme, and you can install any of these you like. Here's winter's coming theme. Each of these has its own fonts and colors and different kinds of styling. This one, community material theme, has different styling, so you can get the basic one, high contrast, darker high contrast. This is the one that I use. Pale night high contrast, ocean, and ocean high contrast. So I'm going to go back to darker high contrast, so this is the one that I like. But you'll also notice that in my settings.json, I was able to specify overrides for certain things, such as the background colors and selection backgrounds. You can look these all up on the Visual Studio Code documentation, to find out what things you can override in the workbench.color customizations and the editor.token color customizations. These are just some of the many extensions that I use that I think that every web developer should know about. If there are any extensions that you know of that I didn't mention, you can type them down in the comments and I'll take a look. I love to see what kinds of extensions you guys are using. As always, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I'll continue showing tips for developers and how to make great projects. So if you're interested in that, please subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!